Hey everybody out there, this is Dirty D with your Sunday Pro Sports podcast. I just wanted to come and do a video regarding the return of the NBA season. Um, so first of all, I'm a big hometown guy, a hometown homer. So part of that is I just feel like you got to be faithful and loyal to the town that you grew up in. But besides that, whatever fan base you are and whatever fan base you reside with, we all have stuff that makes us fans, and whatever that is, as far as your fandom and your fanhood, I don't question it, especially if you're here in this forum. But getting back to the point, the NBA season's looking like it's going to come back, and there's going to be a 7 game playoff series. So what I'm thinking is they're probably going to have all 30 teams probably compete in a 7 game playoff style with seeding, um, going wherever. And if not, they're probably just going to take all the top 8 teams. Which, if that ends up being the case, I am very interested because I watched the UFC last night without fans, and that was very interesting. Um, and that I mean that's interesting enough by itself, and that's just a fight. So um, the next thing that I'm wondering is, will they limit fans, or will they completely abandon the thought of any revenue coming from uh, fans in the stands? Which, if that's the case too, I know for us here in Denver, we have a very young team that's not 100% totally disciplined, and they lose composure in key and pivotal moments in games out here in Denver. So that ends up being really detrimental to the team, because when that happens, I could tell you from personal experience, having watched the team for quite some time, since before Carmelo Anthony, when Nick Van Axel was here, Antonio McDyess, those type of guys. Um, I could tell you that there is a home field or a home court advantage here in Denver, and it definitely comes in the later stages of a ball game, whether that be football, whether that be basketball, whether that be baseball or hockey or whatever it is, whatever soccer, whatever sport it is. When you're at a mile high, it does affect you, and it's just that science. The air is thinner here, and that's I mean that's just facts. So at the end of the day, my question to I get the Nuggets Nation, or to Nuggets fans out there in Denver. My question to you guys is going to be, what do you guys think as far as the overall scope? Like, do you think that, for one, if we win, Nuggets fans, they are not going to give us 100% credit. We are going to be, um, we're gonna be, look, our championship is gonna have an asterisk on it. I'll just put it to you that way. Regardless of whatever, if the Lakers win, then it was meant to happen. They're the best team in the NBA, is what the media will say. If we win, it'll the season was not a full season, and at the end of the day, we won, but is our championship legit? And that's what the media narrative will be, folks. And I can promise you that much, because having grown up my entire life watching sports from all venues, I've seen the West Coast and East Coast media biases in this world of sports entertainment, and a lot of times in Denver, it's been the downfall. I know there's been seasons where an athlete here definitely. probably had the numbers and had all the stats to back up being an MVP of the league, but because they were here in Denver or wherever it may be, because usually it's just small media market teams in general experience the media bias. But that's another great topic that I'd love to hear from you out there in Broncos country and Nuggets Nation, Avalanche fans. I'd love to hear from you guys. Just in general, with the athletes that you guys feel were slighted or weren't as highly, marketed or touted as some of the big media names like LeBron or there's a couple other names out there that Brady, guys that played in uh, teams that had a bigger media market influence than what the teams do here in the Mile High City. Um, I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to hear from everyone. Let me know because I know there was, like a Todd Helton is a perfect example. He played most of his career here, and there was quite a few years that he was putting up, relatively good numbers, not just defensively but offensively. I mean, it was right. He was competing right there with for batting titles and RBI titles and all that stuff when he was truly in his prime. But I don't think he got enough credit because, for one, a hitter in Colorado, just know that your stats are always going to be ballooned because of the humidor and the thin air and everything else like that. And I mean, that just goes to show you that if the Rockies have to literally put baseballs into a humidor before the season, or before the game and during the season before games, just to keep the ball from jumping out of the ballpark, which it doesn't work in the hotter summer months. We all know that once you get into July and the real thick of the heat here in Colorado, and it's a dry, arid, real deserty heat. But it's scorching. It gets into the high 90s, into the hundreds sometimes. A lot of the times in July and September out here in August, and those days are brutal. And no humidor, no none of that is going to eliminate the mile high factor. But getting back to the NBA, the Nuggets have a young team that fed a lot off of the energy in the Mile High Stadium, which also correlated with their advantage here at home. They could play defense and run, transition, and run your team out of the gym. Right here in Denver, that's Doug Moe's recipe for winning. You play defense and you turn that defense into the first pass in transition, and you're in transition as soon as the rebound is taken. That's the first pass in transition, and then you're out into the open court, moving the ball around to open players and getting open shots, and you run teams out of gyms that way. Well, you also generate tons of energy with your crowd when you play that way. I know we were slowing down quite a bit in our style of play there towards the end of the season, and there at that was for a while now. Mike Malone's tried to institute more of a half court offense, more of a slow it down pace, but at the end of the day, a lot of it all correlates to the defense, and the defense kind of started slacking there at the end of the regular season. But I could be wrong. Denver Nugget fans, let me know. But the main thing I want to hear from you about Nugget fans is, do you think if we win a championship this year, do you think that the national media will try to put an asterisk by our NBA title, or do you think it's legitimate? Do you think it stands as it is? Because if the Lakers win their championship, or if the Lakers win this championship, um, they'll just add another banner to their historic um, franchise. Whereas for the Denver Nuggets, it would be the first official NBA championship in franchise history. I know we have an ABA championship from before the merger to join the NBA. Excuse me, but that again doesn't count and isn't reflected in the present stats because of the merger. It's a separate category altogether. So um, I think in the media's eyes, like I said, if it's the Lakers, it's gonna stand. If it's us, it's gonna be questioned. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe if it's us, it also stands because we will have to get through the Lakers, folks. Regardless of anything, we'll have to get through the Lakers or the Clippers, and that is a fact. There's not going to be any kind of upset, and if you guys disagree, go ahead and argue with me in the comments, and I'll try to make a video in rebuttal. Again, I'm not getting a ton of response in the comments, not stuff that I can really make videos off of, but um, I'd love to hear from you, Nuggets fans. Because at the end of the day, like I said, if Joker comes in, he comes in shape. If he comes in mid-season form where he's in shape, he got endurance, his stamina is built up, we have a good chance to go toe to toe with anybody. Um, but then again, that also brings up the whole point of rosters. Would we be able to bring in more guys? Like, because we were short guys after our trade. Would we be able to call up guys like Bobo? Would he get playing time? Because how would the 7 game playoff series work? Does anybody really? Does anyone out there know? Because if they do, I'd like a little bit more information. Um, and again, like I said, guys, if you're even somewhat or remotely interested in this kind of a platform, um, you know, let's smash up that trifecta. Let's comment, like, subscribe, and we'll get this platform and this channel up and running. And also, if you're following me on Twitter, remember that's 750 retweets and a follow on Instagram and a subscribe and a like and a screenshot of all these things, and I will get you a jersey of your choosing. So it's a good deal, but it is work. So, if you're up to the challenge, guys, let me know. And if you are up to the challenge, I'm rooting for you because it benefits us all. And hopefully we can get this thing up and running. And again, like always, guys, I really appreciate you. And thank you for watching.